This is a very old story called St. Francis and the Wolf of Gubbio. At the time when St. Francis was living in the city of Gubbio, a large wolf appeared in the neighborhood, so terrible and so fierce that he not only devoured other animals, but made a prey of people also. And since he often approached the town, all the people were in great alarm and used to go about armed as if going to battle. Notwithstanding these precautions, if any of the inhabitants ever met him alone, they were sure to be devoured, as all defense was useless, and through fear of the wolf, they dared not go beyond the city walls. St. Francis, feeling great compassion for the people of Gubbio, resolved to go and meet the wolf, though all advised him not to do so. Making the sign of the Holy Cross, and putting all his confidence in God, he went forth from the city, and bent his steps alone toward the spot where the wolf was known to be, while many people followed at a distance, and witnessed the miracle. The wolf, seeing all this multitude, ran toward St. Francis with his jaws wide open. As he approached, the saint, making the sign of the cross, cried out, "Come hither, brother wolf. I command you in the name of Christ, neither to harm me nor anybody else." Marvelous to tell, no sooner had St. Francis made the sign of the cross than the terrible wolf, closing his jaws, stopped running, and coming up to St. Francis, lay down at his feet as meekly as a lamb. And the saint thus addressed him, "Brother Wolf, you have done much evil in this land, destroying and killing the creatures of God without his permission. Not only animals have you destroyed, but you have even dared to devour people, made in the image of God, for which you are worthy of being hanged like a robber and a murderer. All people cry out against you, the dogs pursue you, and all the inhabitants of this city are your enemies. But I will make peace between them and you, brother wolf, if so be thou no more offend them, and they shall forgive you all your past offenses, and neither men nor dogs shall pursue you any more." Having listened to these words, the wolf bowed his head, and by the movements of his body, his tail, and his eyes, made signs that he agreed to what St. Francis said. On this, St. Francis added, "As you are willing to make this peace, I promise that you shall be fed every day by the inhabitants of this land, so long as you shall live among them. You shall no longer suffer hunger, as it is hunger which has made you do so much evil. But if I obtain all this for you, you must promise on your side never again to attack any animal or any human being. Do you make this promise?" Then the wolf lifted up his paw and placed it familiarly in the hand of St. Francis, giving him thereby the only pledge which was in his power. Now the news of this most wonderful miracle spread quickly through the town, and all the inhabitants, both men and women, small and great, young and old, flocked to the marketplace to see St. Francis and the wolf. All the people being assembled, St. Francis said, "Listen, my brothers and sisters. The wolf who is here before you has promised and pledged his faith that he consents to make peace with you all, and no more to offend you in anything, and you must promise to give him each day his necessary food, to which, if you consent, I promise in his name that he will most faithfully observe the compact." Then all the people promised with one voice to feed the wolf to the end of his days. And St. Francis, addressing the latter, said again, "And you, brother wolf, do you promise to keep the compact, and never again to offend either man or beast, or any other creature?" And the wolf knelt down, bowing his head, and by the motions of his tail and of his ears, endeavored to show that he was willing, so far as was in his power, to hold to the compact. Now this caused great joy in all the people, and a great devotion towards St. Francis, because of the novelty of the miracle, and because of the peace which had been concluded with the wolf. And they lifted up their voices to heaven, praising and blessing God, who had sent them St. Francis, through whose merits they had been delivered from such a savage beast. The wolf lived 2 years at Gubbio. He went familiarly from door to door, without harming anyone, and all the people received him courteously, feeding him with great pleasure, and no dog barked at him as he went about. At last, after 2 years, he died of old age, and the people of Gubbio mourned his loss greatly, for when they saw him going about so gently amongst them all, he reminded them of the virtue and sanctity of St. Francis.